When you speak, you are not merely uttering words. You are releasing energy into the world. Every vibration of your voice carries a certain power. It is not about how loud you speak, but from where you speak. If it comes from your ego, your words are just noise. But if it comes from your inner clarity, even your silence becomes a message. The power of your voice does not lie in the language or the accent. It lies in the depth of your experience. When you speak from truth, it touches hearts without effort. Most people underestimate what their voice can do. They think speaking is just about communication, but it is creation. When you say something with complete conviction, with every cell of your being aligned behind it, you create a possibility that did not exist before. Look at your own life. How many times have your words shaped the direction of your days? One word spoken in anger can destroy a relationship. One word spoken in love can heal years of pain. One sentence spoken with determination can transform your entire future. Your voice has the power to move mountains, not because it is loud, but because it is aligned. When your words come from clarity, they carry weight. When they come from confusion, they scatter. Many people speak a lot, but very few speak with presence. If you bring awareness into your voice, it becomes like fire. It can light the darkness within others. But if you use it unconsciously, it can burn everything around you. So before you use your voice, learn to connect it to your stillness. Only when silence and speech are balanced within you does your voice become truly powerful. It is like a river. It flows gracefully only when it knows its source. If you are cut off from that inner source, your words dry up or overflow in chaos. But when you are connected, your speech becomes effortless and profound. You do not need to prepare what to say, because the truth simply flows through you. Think of how many people are afraid to speak. They fear judgment, rejection, or failure. They silence themselves because the world told them their voice doesn't matter. But that is the greatest tragedy, to live a life where your truth stays locked inside. Every time you choose silence out of fear, a part of your soul grows dim. It's not that you need to shout your opinions everywhere, but when something true rises within you, you must give it a voice. Otherwise, you betray your own spirit. Do not wait for perfect moments or perfect words. Perfection is not in the grammar, it is in the intention. Even a broken voice that carries honesty has more strength than a polished lie. When you speak authentically, your voice gains a magnetic quality. It resonates beyond logic, beyond boundaries. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget how your voice made them feel. The problem is, most of us speak only from memory, not from awareness. We repeat what society has filled us with. We echo others' beliefs, others' fears, others' expectations. But your voice was not meant to be an echo. It was meant to be an instrument of truth. Every human being has a unique tone, a unique rhythm. That uniqueness is the signature of your existence. If you suppress it, the world loses something irreplaceable. When you begin to use your voice consciously, you also begin to hear differently. You start to listen to the space between words. You begin to sense the energy behind what people say. Then your speech is no longer reaction. It becomes response. Reaction is mechanical. Response is mindful. The more you respond from awareness, the more your voice becomes a tool for transformation, not argument. Sometimes silence itself becomes the loudest expression of your voice. When you know when to speak and when to stay silent, your presence becomes powerful. People will listen even when you whisper because they feel the strength of your inner stillness. This is not something you can fake. It grows as your awareness deepens. Your voice is not just for speaking to others. It is also the way you speak to yourself. The words you repeat in your mind shape your reality more than any outer voice. If your inner voice constantly tells you that you are not enough, that you cannot succeed, that voice will become a prophecy. But if you consciously use your inner voice to remind yourself of your potential, to affirm your clarity, your entire energy will shift. So let your voice not be a tool for noise, but for creation. Speak truth, speak life, speak light. And before every word, pause for a moment to see if it rises from fear or awareness. If it comes from awareness, it will find its way to the right ears at the right time. Tell me, have you ever felt how one honest word can change the atmosphere in a room? Have you ever noticed how your tone can lift someone from despair or push them deeper into pain? That is the power you hold. Use it consciously, and your voice will not only speak, it will heal. It will awaken, it will inspire. Most people use their voice only to express opinions, to argue, to defend, or to impress. But very few use it to elevate. When your voice is used with awareness, it does not divide, it unites. It does not dominate, it transforms. The true power of your voice is not in how forcefully you speak, but in how deeply it touches. When a voice carries sincerity, it doesn't just reach the ears, it enters the heart. That is the difference between sound and resonance. Sound is what you hear, resonance is what you feel. If you truly want your voice to carry power, it must be rooted in your authenticity. Authenticity is not about saying everything that crosses your mind. It is about speaking what arises from clarity, not emotion. When your emotions are turbulent, your voice becomes reactive. When your awareness is calm, your voice becomes radiant. People often think power means volume, but power means presence. There are people who barely raise their voice, yet when they speak, everything else becomes silent. Why? Because their words carry the vibration of truth. Every time you open your mouth to speak, ask yourself, are these words adding light or spreading shadows? The words you speak are seeds. They don't disappear. They take root in someone's mind, in someone's life. You may forget them, but they grow. A few careless words can create years of misunderstanding. A few conscious words can awaken someone to their strength. That is how delicate and divine the act of speaking truly is. The power of your voice depends entirely on the purity of your intention. If your intention is selfish, your words may achieve short-term impact, but they will never create lasting transformation. When your intention is pure, to uplift, to guide, to awaken, then even silence between your words becomes powerful. The listener may not even understand why they feel moved, but something within them shifts. That is the unseen magic of a conscious voice. But before your voice can touch others, it must first touch you. Most people speak to convince the world, but they have never convinced themselves of what they believe. Your voice gains power when it echoes your own truth. When you know what you stand for, you no longer speak for approval. You speak because it is natural. It is like a river flowing. It doesn't ask permission. It simply moves, nourishing everything it touches. This is why alignment is so important. If your words say one thing but your energy says another, people may hear you, but they won't trust you. Trust is born when your inner and outer voice are one. That alignment is what gives your speech gravity. Otherwise, your voice will only be noise in a noisy world. To make your voice stand out, let it come from inner stillness, not desperation. Have you noticed how your voice changes with your state of being? When you are angry, it trembles. When you are loving, it softens. When you are truthful, it steadies. Your voice is the most honest reflection of your inner condition. That is why before you try to speak powerfully, learn to be peaceful. Peace is the foundation of power. When your heart is calm and your purpose is clear, your words will find the right rhythm naturally. You don't have to force expression. It will arise from within you like breath. Even the tone of your voice matters more than the content. The same sentence spoken with bitterness can wound, and spoken with compassion can heal. This is not about manipulation. It is about awareness. If you bring awareness to how you speak, not just what you speak, you will begin to notice how your voice can create harmony or conflict in every situation. Every great movement in history began with a voice that refused to stay silent. But that voice didn't become powerful overnight. It became powerful because it carried the weight of sincerity, the clarity of vision, and the strength of purpose. Your own voice carries that potential. You may think you are ordinary, but your voice can ignite extraordinary change when it rises from a place of truth. You do not need an audience of millions. You just need authenticity. One honest word from your heart can do more than 1,000 rehearsed speeches. When you use your voice with clarity, it becomes a mirror. It reflects light back into the world. But when you use it unconsciously, it becomes a weapon. That is why awareness is everything. Before you speak, pause and feel, are these words arising from love or from fear? From clarity or confusion? That small pause can transform your communication, your relationships, your very life. Your voice is a tool for creation. Every word you speak either builds or breaks, heals or harms. The choice is always yours. Speak not because you need to be heard, but because you have something worth sharing. When your words carry purpose, even silence listens. Tell me, how often do you use your voice to uplift someone? How often do you speak to yourself with kindness rather than criticism? If you begin with that small awareness, your voice will start to shape a different world around you. One that listens, one that feels, one that transforms. Your voice is a doorway to your inner world. If that world is filled with confusion, fear, or resentment, those vibrations will flow through your speech no matter how carefully you choose your words. You can rehearse, you can polish your sentences, but energy cannot be disguised. When your inner world is in alignment, your voice becomes like a river, steady, effortless, alive. But when you speak from a place of disturbance, even the most beautiful words lose their meaning. So, the first step to using your voice powerfully is to cleanse what lies within. Most people try to sound powerful. They raise their volume, change their tone, adopt authority. But none of that creates true power. Power doesn't come from pretending, it comes from presence. When your being is in harmony, when you are not divided within yourself, your voice naturally carries authority. It doesn't demand attention, it commands it. You don't have to shout to be heard. Even a whisper, when it comes from awareness, can pierce through the noise of the world. When your voice is aligned with your inner truth, people feel it. They may not understand what exactly moves them, but something deep within them responds, because truth recognizes truth. You don't have to decorate your words with fancy language. Simplicity becomes strength when it is backed by authenticity. In fact, the more honest and grounded your voice becomes, the more impact it carries. People trust what feels real, not what sounds perfect. There is a silent kind of power that comes when you speak from clarity. You do not need to convince anyone because the energy behind your words does the work. Your voice becomes a mirror, reflecting light into the spaces where people have forgotten their own. But this only happens when your intention is pure. If you speak for validation or control, your words may gather followers, but they will not awaken anyone. True speech liberates. It doesn't bind. That's why it's important to pause before you speak. In that pause, you can sense whether your words are coming from love or ego, from awareness or reaction. If you just react, your voice becomes part of the noise that already fills this world. But if you respond consciously, even a few words can shift the energy around you. That pause is not weakness, it is wisdom. In that silence, your voice gathers power. So much of what people call communication today is not communication. It's projection. Everyone wants to be heard, but very few want to understand. If you can make your voice an expression of understanding rather than opinion, it becomes medicine. Sometimes, just the tone of your voice can calm an angry heart or give hope to someone lost in darkness. You may not even realize the impact you've made, but the vibration of your words continues long after the sound has faded. If you truly wish to use your voice as a force for good, you must learn to speak from compassion. Compassion does not mean softness, it means strength that does not need to dominate. When your voice carries compassion, even truth that may be difficult to hear becomes easier to receive. Your tone, your rhythm, your pauses, all begin to communicate something beyond logic. Your voice starts to touch the soul, not just the intellect. But for that to happen, you must first listen. Listen deeply to the people around you, to the silence within you, to life itself. Listening refines your voice. The more deeply you listen, the more wisely you speak. People who listen rarely waste words, and that's why their words carry so much power. Their voice is not cluttered with noise. It carries only what is necessary. When you use your voice consciously, you begin to notice its influence not just on others, but on yourself. The way you speak to yourself in your own mind shapes your energy far more than any outer conversation. If your inner voice is harsh, critical, or fearful, it weakens your presence. But if it is calm, kind, and rooted in clarity, it strengthens you. Every inner word is an instruction to your energy, so speak within yourself the way you wish to be in the world. Even in the simplest acts of daily life, your voice can be a tool for transformation. When you speak to your family, your friends, your co-workers, notice what your voice carries. Is it tension or peace? Are you using it to uplift or to control? Awareness in these small moments builds the foundation for a powerful life. The power of your voice is not measured by how many people hear it, but by how deeply it touches even one. Your voice was given to you not just for survival, but for creation. Through it, you can speak light into someone's darkness, courage into someone's doubt, faith into someone's fear. You can shape the invisible energy around you through the vibration of your word. So, speak consciously. Let your words be born from awareness, carried by compassion, and grounded in truth. And tell me, when the world listens, what will your voice say? There are many people who go through life without ever realizing that their voice is a reflection of their inner world. Your voice is not just sound. It is your energy made audible. The tone, the rhythm, the pace, all reveal the state of your being. When your mind is scattered, your voice becomes uncertain. When your emotions are heavy, your voice carries that weight. But when your awareness is steady and your heart is open, your voice becomes effortless, natural, magnetic. It draws people in not because you are trying to impress, but because you are simply being real. Your voice becomes powerful only when it stops being about you. The more you try to prove yourself through words, the weaker your voice becomes. But when you use your voice to express truth, not ego, it begins to have impact. Power is not about domination, it is about presence. You can sit in silence and still move people deeply if your inner energy is aligned. True speech is not just about sound, it is about the silence from which it arises. That silence gives your voice depth. When you speak from that space of inner balance, you no longer speak to convince anyone. You speak to express what is genuine. People are not moved by arguments. They are moved by authenticity. If your words come from experience, not from borrowed knowledge, they carry a certain vibration that no one can ignore. Even if they disagree with your opinion, they will still feel the truth behind your voice. That is the kind of power the world needs today. Not loud voices, but truthful ones. Every time you use your voice, you are shaping the space around you. Have you ever entered a room after someone angry has spoken? Even if they are gone, the air still feels tense. That is because words are not just sounds. They leave energetic imprints. In the same way, when someone speaks with love or clarity, the whole atmosphere feels lighter. Your voice can change the vibration of your surroundings. That is why awareness of your speech is not a moral idea. It is an energetic reality. Many people complain that no one listens to them. But have you noticed, if your voice is reactive, people automatically resist it? If your words carry judgment or bitterness, even if your message is right, others won't receive it. But if your voice carries peace, it disarms resistance. This is why inner work is so important before outer expression. If you cleanse your inner space, your voice will naturally carry compassion. It will not need persuasion. It will simply touch people because it comes from a place of clarity. Sometimes you don't even have to speak to use your voice. Your presence, your expressions, your silence all communicate more than words ever can. When your being is grounded, even your quietness becomes a message of peace. But if your inner world is in chaos, no matter how polished your words are, they will sound hollow. The world does not need more talk. It needs voices that emerge from awareness. To make your voice powerful, you must first learn to listen, not just to others, but to yourself. Listen to the words you repeat daily in your mind. Listen to the tone in which you speak to your loved ones. Listen to how you respond when life doesn't go your way. These small reflections show how you are using your voice. Once you become aware of it, transformation naturally begins. You do not have to force your voice to sound powerful. It becomes powerful as your awareness deepens. Your voice was never meant to be a weapon against others. It was meant to be an instrument of truth. When you speak from your higher self, your words gain a kind of grace. They no longer wound, they awaken. You start speaking in ways that heal hearts instead of hardening them. That is real power. The ability to use your voice as light, not fire. Think about it. Every great change, every revolution, every movement that shifted humanity began because someone dared to speak. Not necessarily someone famous, but someone who refused to stay silent when truth called. The same potential exists within you. The question is, what are you using your voice for? Complaints, gossip, criticism, or creation, love, and awareness. You do not have to be on a stage to use your voice powerfully. You can use it in your home, with your children, with your friends, with yourself. Each time you speak with awareness, you are shaping a more conscious world. Each time you speak with love, you are adding light where there was once darkness. That is how transformation begins, not with noise, but with truth spoken with clarity. Have you ever noticed how your words echo in your own heart after you speak them? They don't vanish, they live within you. So use your voice as if every word were a seed, because one day you will walk through the garden it creates. Speak with awareness, speak with truth, speak with the kind of power that comes not from force, but from understanding. And if this message resonates within you even for a moment, take a breath. Then ask yourself, how will use your voice today? Your voice has the power to shift your destiny, but that power is not found in shouting, arguing, or trying to prove yourself. It lies in speaking from truth. When you use your voice to express clarity, not confusion, it becomes a creative force. Every word you speak carries the energy of your state of being. If you speak with frustration, that energy multiplies. If you speak with peace, that peace begins to shape your life. The words that come out of your mouth are not just sounds. They are vibrations that create your reality. If you want to change the world around you, begin by changing the way you speak within yourself. Most people speak unconsciously. They speak out of habit, emotion, or reaction. But awareness means you pause before you speak, and you observe the source of your words. Ask yourself, are these words coming from fear or awareness, from love or insecurity? If you bring that moment of awareness before expression, you will notice how the quality of your voice changes. It softens, it steadies, it carries depth. And when your voice carries depth, even simple words begin to have meaning. Think about it. How many times have you used your voice to complain, to defend, to justify? Each time you do that, you are using your voice to reinforce limitation. But if you begin to use your voice consciously, to speak vision instead of complaint, faith instead of fear, understanding instead of blame, your very vibration changes. The energy you send out starts to return to you in new forms. This is not philosophy. This is simple science of vibration. What you emit is what you attract, and your voice is one of the strongest emitters you possess. When you use your voice with awareness, it becomes an instrument of healing. Sometimes you don't need to give advice. Just your tone can comfort someone. Just your calmness while speaking can settle another person's storm. You can't fake that. It comes only when your own inner voice is peaceful. If your inner voice is constantly filled with judgment, comparison, or anxiety, your outer voice will reflect that. But when your inner dialogue is filled with understanding and clarity, your outer expression naturally carries harmony. Your voice is not just for communication, it's for creation. Every time you say, I can, you are creating possibility. Every time you say, I can't, you are closing the door to it. Words are not mere sounds. They are directions to your own consciousness. So if you constantly say, I'm tired, your body begins to feel tired. If you say, I'm learning, your energy shifts toward growth. That's how powerful your voice truly is. The world outside is a reflection of the conversation happening within you. You must understand, your inner voice is like a sculptor. It shapes how you see yourself and how you move through the world. When that inner voice becomes your friend, your outer voice becomes your gift. But when that inner voice becomes your enemy, your outer voice becomes your weapon. So start by making peace with the voice inside you. Speak to yourself as you would speak to someone you love. Speak encouragement instead of criticism, gratitude instead of complaint. Your outer expression will automatically follow the tone of your inner world. There are times when silence speaks louder than words. But silence is not the absence of speech. It is the presence of awareness. When you are silent with awareness, your energy itself communicates. When you speak from that silence, your voice becomes alive. It's not just what you say that touches people. It's the energy behind it. Some people can utter a single sentence and change the atmosphere of a room because their voice carries stillness, not noise. That stillness comes from inner discipline, training yourself to use your words only when necessary and to use them consciously. Every sound that leaves your mouth should be worthy of the silence it breaks. If your words do not elevate, it's better to let silence speak. But when you do speak, let your words come from your center. Speak not to win, but to awaken. Speak not to be right, but to be real. When you speak from truth, people may resist, they may disagree, but deep down, something in them recognizes what you are saying. Because truth always carries its own power. The greatest misuse of voice is to use it without purpose. The greatest use of voice is to align it with creation, with love, with light. You may not realize it, but every time you speak consciously, you are planting seeds. Seeds that grow in your relationships, in your work, in your destiny. So choose your words as you would choose your steps, each one shaping the path ahead. Have you ever noticed how one kind word can change someone's day? How one encouraging sentence can reignite hope? That is the power you hold every single moment. The question is, are you using your voice to build or to break, to heal or to harm, to inspire or to discourage? The answer lies not in your volume, but in your awareness. Speak with that awareness, and your voice will not just be heard, it will be remembered. There is a voice within you that has been waiting to be heard, not the voice of fear, not the voice of doubt, but the voice of truth. It speaks quietly, yet with more strength than any noise around you. Most people never give that inner voice a chance to rise because they are too busy listening to the world. They let the opinions, judgments, and expectations of others drown out their own clarity. But the day you begin to listen to that inner voice, your life will start to align. You will no longer speak to please, you will speak to express. You will no longer react to noise, you will respond to truth. That is when your voice becomes not just sound, but power. You see, your voice is an extension of your awareness. The clearer you are inside, the purer your expression becomes. When your awareness is clouded by fear or guilt, your voice loses its strength. But when you are connected to what is real within you, your words flow naturally, fearlessly. You don't have to force them, they simply arise. There is no hesitation because you are not trying to impress anyone. You are just expressing your truth, and truth always carries its own power. You don't have to decorate it. You don't have to sell it. It speaks for itself through your presence. When you speak from your truth, people listen differently. They may not even understand why they feel drawn to your words, but something in them recognizes that energy. Because truth always resonates, it has a vibration that cuts through doubt and confusion. And when you use your voice in alignment with that vibration, you stop being just another voice in the crowd. You become a source of clarity in a world filled with noise. But this does not happen by accident. It happens when you learn to listen deeply to yourself, to life, to the silence between sounds. That silence is where your real voice lives. If you only speak without listening, your voice will never have depth. But when you listen first, truly listen, then your speech becomes meaningful. Listening refines your voice. It shapes your awareness. It connects you to the moment, and from that connection, your words come alive. The problem is, most people listen only to reply, not to understand. They speak to win, not to connect, and that is why their voices lack impact. When you speak from ego, your voice may be loud, but it will never be powerful. True power doesn't come from volume, it comes from presence. When you are fully present, even a whisper can move mountains. Your voice must serve something higher than your identity. It must serve truth. Because if you use your voice only to defend your opinions, you will never experience its true potential. But if you use it to express awareness, compassion, and understanding, it becomes a doorway for transformation. Then your voice is no longer about you. It becomes a tool through which life itself speaks. Every time you speak, you are sowing seeds in someone's consciousness. You might not see their growth immediately, but those words can stay with them for years. So speak with care. Speak with awareness. Even in disagreement, let your voice be respectful. Even in pain, let it be conscious, because your voice can either heal or harm, lift or lower, awaken or numb. Every sound you release carries your energy forward into the world. When your voice and your inner truth are aligned, there is no struggle. You no longer need to think about how to sound confident or persuasive. Confidence comes naturally because you are not pretending. When you stand in truth, your voice becomes stable. Even silence becomes powerful because your presence itself speaks. People will begin to listen not just to your words, but to the energy behind them. To use your voice powerfully means to use it responsibly. Responsibility doesn't mean being cautious. It means being conscious. If your intention is pure, your voice will find the right ears, the right moment, the right impact. But if your intention is clouded, no matter how eloquent you sound, it will fall flat. Intention is the soul of your voice. Without it, words are empty shells. Your voice was not given to you to just survive. It was given to you to shape the world around you. Each time you speak from awareness, you bring a little more light into a darkened space. You may not always see the effect, but it is there. The vibration of truth never goes to waste. It lingers, it spreads, it awakens. So begin to use your voice not as a reaction to the world, but as a response from your awareness. Speak less from memory, more from presence. Speak less from habit, more from understanding. When you do that, your voice will carry a power that is beyond personality. It will carry the vibration of life itself. Tell me, have you felt that moment when your own words surprised you? When they didn't come from thought, but from something deeper, something still and certain? That is your real voice speaking. That is the voice you must trust, nurture, and share. Use it, not to dominate, but to illuminate. Use it, not to be heard, but to awaken. Because when you begin to use your voice from that place of truth, the world will not just hear you, it will feel you.